welcome to Cooking with Mama Bear. If you're new, thanks so much for joining me today. Today we're gonna make chicken quesadillas, but instead of doing it the traditional way in the pan, we're gonna do it in the microwave and see does it turn out just the same. So if you're a teenager, a young person, student, have you asked your parents, can you cook in the kitchen? Because once they say yes, then you can cook in the kitchen. I forgot something else. Have you washed your hands with hot soapy water for 20 seconds? If you haven't done it, do that. Because that's nasty. I'm sorry, that's unsanitary. Let's get started. So my ingredients out. First I want to do is season my chicken. So I have my chicken here in a container. I've rinsed the meat because that's important to rinse the meat to make sure there's no debris, bone particles, or anything on your meat. So you want to rinse it. So I did that already. I have my oil that I'm going to put in my pan. So my frying pan is getting hot on like medium heat. You will need spices. So I have just like I'll say generic. It's like a season all no salt blend. You don't have to add this, but it adds just, it kicks up the flavor. I have cumin, parsley, onion powder, garlic powder, chili powder. And then for my tools, I have my skillet or frying pan, as I said earlier, some tongs, and then a cutting board. And if you're squeamish or you don't like touching meat, then you can use a glove. So I'm going to season the meat and then I'm going to put it in the pan. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon or 1 capful of oil because I just don't want my chicken to stick. Once the chicken is done, so I'm just going to spread this around. Once the chicken's done, you'll know it's done because it'll turn from this pinky peachy colored to a white color. Not as white as this, but pretty white. And then the juice should be clear and there's no blood, and then you'll know that the chicken is done. So I'm going to cook this up real quick and then we'll talk about assembling quesadillas. Okay, we're going to get started. I'm finally done. I cooked the chicken. I shredded it, or I just kind of like pulled it apart a little bit. So I've got my chicken. It's already cooked all the way through. There's no pink, there's no blood. It's all kind of whitish, lightish brown. After the chicken was done, in the pan, I cooked some peppers, some red sweet peppers, some yellow sweet peppers, and some onion. The little black flecks are from the spices from the chicken when it was cooking in the pan, so it's not burned. Next, I just have plain pinto bean. So I'm going to add some spices to this to kick the flavor up. Oh, I forgot to get the cheese. We'll get that in a second. I have some spices here. I'll add chili powder, garlic powder, onion powder, and cumin. Then I made some homemade, I don't want these to hit the floor. Some homemade flour tortillas. So if you want the recipe for that, you will see it in this corner or in this corner, because I don't know which corner it's going to show up in. So let's assemble this. Let me grab the cheese. I have my cheese. This bag always gives me issues. And I will just get a spoon. I'll get a tablespoon. Okay, so let's start with the beans. I'm going to get 1/4 of a cup of pinto beans. And I'm just going to put it in my jar. Oh, that's not enough. Okay, I'll get 2 scoops, which equals 1/2 a cup. And I'm just going to eyeball it, and that means just look and say, oh, that looks good. So let's say I'm going to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of each spice. So I'm just shaking this on here. See, it looks like that. So that looks about right. So I'm going to add each spice on here, and then I'm going to stir this up, and then we are ready to, okay, that looks good. And that's garlic powder. That's really strong. Then I have my onion powder is next. And again, this is about 1/8 of a spoon, 1/8 of a teaspoon. And then my cumin. Get my lid off. Here we go. Okay, that looks good. So I'm just going to take a regular spoon and just stir those spices in with the beans. And now we're ready to assemble. Traditionally, quesadillas, you can just do cheese with the tortillas and that's it. But we are going to have it more, we're going to have more interesting toppings in there. So I'm going to take one of my tortillas. I'm going to try to make sure I've got two that are about the same size. So here's one. So I have my tortilla on a plate. My lighting, I apologize. And I'm going to just put some shredded chicken on here. Oh, this looks good. My family likes the chicken really chunky. So that's why it looks, that's why there's a lot of chicken on here. I'm going to put a few beans, not a lot, just a few. So that's about a tablespoon of beans. And then I will do some peppers and onions. And I'll show you guys up close what it looks like. Hopefully the lighting will behave. Okay. That looks good. I feel like, oh, I'm missing cheese. Put one more here. Now, I got dairy issues, so I don't put a lot of cheese on. I'm using cheddar cheese. You can use Colby Jack, mozzarella. So I'm going to put 2 tablespoons on here. But you could put a whole lot more. That's kind of up to your liking. No, I'll put another one. Okay. So, okay. Oh, that looks good. Okay. Uh-oh. Now we're going to put the other tortilla on. We're going to microwave for 30 seconds. And I'm going to check to see, is that enough time? I just want that cheese to melt. Okay, here it is. I had to microwave for a whole minute to get that cheese to melt. So if I lift this up, you can see all the cheese that's melting in there. So the easiest way to cut this is to take a pizza cutter and just make a horizontal line. Now I know this is really packed full of stuff. And then make a vertical line. Ta-da! Okay, so let's lift it up. Okay, I know it looks a little messy, but it's gonna be good. So I'm gonna serve this with like chips, guacamole, sour cream. Traditionally, you can make this in a cast iron skillet or a frying pan and just put the tortilla in, put all your stuff on it. Then when it's kind of golden brown on one side, flip it over and then you cook it that way. But it can be made in a microwave. So that is it. I'm gonna make more for my family so we can eat. So thanks so much for joining me today with Cooking with Mama Bear. Don't forget, stay and look while you cook. Bye.